time to shake the dust off and begin.
Hey everybody, welcome to Shift Your Story. It's your host, Lucy Price. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Today we are talking about if you made the right choice in ending your relationship. As a relationship coach, I get people from different backgrounds and different situations and circumstances, but there does tend to be common threads and common themes in my work and what people come to me for. And I've had a wave in the past 6 months or so of people hopping on connection calls with me, which if you don't know what my connection calls, it's basically an opportunity for us to chat, me get to know your situation and see if we would be a good fit in working together. And I've had a load of people hop on those calls with the sensation of, I don't know if I made the right choice in leaving my partner. I don't know if I made the right decision in ending my relationship. And it's really eating at me and it's causing me to feel insecure and have a lot of anxiety, and it's stressing me out, and it's causing me to lose focus and lose trust in myself and in my decisions. And when I hop on these calls with people, even though the situations and circumstances are different in what's bringing them to that question, there are some common things that I go through with them in terms of helping them determine whether they made the right choice for themselves and the right choice in ending the relationship for themselves. And so I wanted to go through and I wanted to share those on the podcast today because I think it would be very helpful. I think this not knowing, this wondering of whether we made the right decision in ending a relationship, it is a common universal theme that I think that we as people experience. And so I wanted to give you this list in hopes that it can help you find some peace, in hopes that it can help you find a little bit more security in yourself and in your decisions. So to start it all off, I have a list of 5 things here to help you determine whether you made the right choice in ending a relationship. The first thing I have for you is safety. If you felt that at any point your safety or the safety of someone you know was at risk in continuing this relationship, from my standpoint, you made the right decision in leaving and ending that relationship. Now, this might not even be your partner directly, but it might be a family member of your partner's or someone in their life who you have reason to have fear, or you are feeling fear of your safety and of your emotional, mental, physical well-being. The reason I say that is because I find that with women specifically, I find that there is a jumping past the intuition and alarm bells because of fearing what the other person will think and feel, not wanting to upset the other person. And so you're willing to put your own intuition to the side out of fear of what another person may think. And I actually want to bring a dating example into this. I was scrolling on the internet. I can't remember who talked about this. If I find out, I'll put it in the show notes. But I scrolled through and I came across this video of a man talking about how there are no other animal species that would get into a metal cage with someone or something that they feared, something that felt like a threat to their emotional or physical well-being. And yet there are many women who go up to an elevator in a hotel, into a building, and there's a man in there who, for some reason, they get this feeling of, this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel good. But they push past it and they go into the elevator, a solid metal cage with something that they do not feel safe with. And that tends to be when shit goes down. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I think that same lens is very similar to being in a relationship with someone, that sometimes we get to the point of being in a relationship with someone that we're so attached, we like them, we care about them, but we start to get this feeling that our safety is at risk. And we continue to stay in the relationship out of fear of what that person may think, or what other people may think, as opposed to trusting ourselves and trusting our own intuition and valuing our safety over another person's feeling in that moment. And so I wanted to put this as the first thing where I think you made the right decision if you feared for your own personal safety, or the safety of your children, or the safety of your loved ones. If you feared for safety in any capacity, I think you made the right choice, and honor that decision because you made the right choice for your own personal safety and well-being. That's the very first one I wanted to start off with, and that's the most direct one I have for you today. If you ever fear your safety, it's not worth it. That's my opinion. The second thing I want to come in here, though, with is a lot more nuanced, and it's a lot more due to what you value in a relationship. So the second thing I have here is the two of you didn't have compatibility. And there's a difference between chemistry and compatibility. So chemistry is all of the hormonal feelings you get when you're with someone. It's caring about them, those butterflies, those like hot, tingly feelings in your chest and in other places. And it's that, oh, I just want to be with them. Like I just want to be next to them. I just want to kiss them. I just want to be around them, and feeling that rush of hormones and feelings internally. There's a difference between that chemistry and compatibility. Compatibility is what is needed for long-term relationships that are fulfilling, that are healthy, to last. Compatibility is having shared values, having a shared lifestyle, point of view of what you want your lifestyle to look like, what you want your life goals to be. If you want kids, if you want to live in a certain place, if you want to have a certain kind of lifestyle, if you want to value your career, if it's those big life goals that you have as a person. It's your interest, and it's also your intimacy. It's your sexual life with each other. If you do not have that compatibility in a relationship, then it's going to struggle. You're going to feel the tension and the strain in the relationship as it goes on. And so if you decided to end a relationship due to the fact that you feel that maybe you have chemistry, but you don't have compatibility, that you don't have those shared values, that you don't have those shared interests, that you're not going the same place in your lives, then I think you got to give yourself permission for doing what I think a lot of people would consider the wise but hard thing. The wise thing of, you want different things for your life, and you still care about that person. You still love that person. You still want to be with that person, but you want different things for yourself in your life. And so you end the relationship based off an issue of compatibility as opposed to an issue of chemistry. I want to bring in the example of, there's a TV show called Schitt's Creek. I love that show so much. It's one of the most easy watching, funny shows I've seen. And in that show, there's two characters, Alexis and oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name, but her partner at the time. And the two of them, this is a spoiler, the two of them end up ending their relationship because he wants to go to the Guadalos. You guys are going to notice I start tripping over certain words. Galapagos Islands for studying, for science, for career things. And she doesn't. That's not her path. She's going to New York and she's starting a PR agency. And so even though they love each other, they decide to end the relationship because love is not enough. It sucks. Love is not enough. You can love someone deeply and you are not the right fit for each other. So if you ended the relationship based off of compatibility, give yourself some compassion because it's hard. It's hard to end a relationship when you love someone. But also, I think long-term for your life and for even the memory of the relationship, you made the right decision. Number 3, you genuinely tried and you checked yourself. If you genuinely tried to make certain things in the relationship work, or to discuss certain issues, or to work through certain problems, and you checked yourself, you checked your own belief system, you checked your own patterns, and you checked your own emotional world, your emotional landscape. If you genuinely tried, you genuinely checked yourself, then again, just like with the second one, you've got to give yourself some compassion for doing a hard thing and ending the relationship. But I think that oftentimes we feel a lot of guilt when we end a relationship from this place, because we start to get wrapped up in, did I try hard enough? Or did I, what if I did something differently? Or why can't they just change? Or why aren't they showing up? And it becomes very confusing, and it's challenging to move through that place. But if you genuinely tried and you genuinely looked at yourself and your own patterns, I think it goes back to a compatibility place. I think it goes back to, you are two people coming against situations and circumstances in your life and in your relationship, and you have two completely different frameworks and ways of going about it. And if you genuinely feel like you tried and you aren't getting to any place of progression or resolution on these issues, then at some point you've got to make the difficult decision to walk away and decide that that relationship isn't for you. This one is a tricky one to speak on, though, because I know for myself in my life, when I've entered into relationships and I genuinely feel like I've tried, in certain times in my life, I had also been seeing a therapist, or I had also been seeing a coach during that time. And when I'm able to bring what I'm doing and bring the circumstance to them and get an outside perspective on it, I've had people point out to me where I could adjust something or I could try something different that I didn't necessarily think of. And so this is one of those ones where you're going to have to really kind of dig deep into yourself and ask yourself some pretty tough questions of, did I genuinely try? And am I genuinely open to fixing this and changing my perspective and changing my belief system of ways to solve this issue? Like, am I open to doing that really? Or do I just want to be right? Do I just want to say that I tried, but I didn't, so that I can kind of go to sleep at night? And so that's where you've got to ask yourself the tough question and really determine for yourself whether you have tried. And I do think there's a benefit to seeking outside eyes who are professionally trained and able to give non-judgmental feedback on the situation, because going to friends and family, they're biased. There's a bias there. They want what's best for you, and or they have a certain perspective of how they see you or the other person or the relationship. And so that's where I say going to a third party perspective of someone who is professionally trained in relationships and has the experience and the know-how to talk you through certain challenges and bumps in the roads in relationships, I think that can be really helpful in helping you determine within yourself, like, okay, are you showing up? Are you trying? Are you genuinely trying to work through these things? Are you open to changing your beliefs and your perspectives to make it work in the relationship and to grow as a person? Or do you just want to say that you tried because it feels too hard to try? That's a little bit of tough love. But you got to check yourself. And if you have checked yourself and you do feel like you genuinely tried, or you got that outside perspective, then again, give yourself compassion and let it go. And allow yourself to move forward with the knowledge that you made the right decision. Number 4, you don't love them. You don't actually love them. And you don't actually want to be with them. But it's a good relationship, and so it feels hard to leave. And you feel like a bad person because they're a good person. If you don't love them, then I do think that there's an element of being cruel to be kind. And when you let them go, when you let someone that you don't really love go, you give them an opportunity to find true love and to find a sense of happiness that you cannot provide them and that you aren't going to give them. This one is, I think specifically this one is hard in the element of they're a good person and you can tell that this is a good relationship, but it's not actually what you want or you don't actually love them. The caveat to this one is I want to just say that relationships go in seasons. You're not going to feel like teenagers in the midst of summer on a beach every single day. You are not going to feel rainbows and sunshine and butterflies every single day. Relationships have seasons. And so some seasons it's summer and others it's winter. And you don't feel like you're connecting and you're in different places or you're focusing on different things in your life. And so if you feel like you've gone through the cycle of seasons, but really you don't love them, you don't want to be with them, then I have a huge amount of compassion and empathy for what you're feeling right now, because I know it feels bad, but really I do think there's an element of you're being kind in the long run because you're giving your partner the opportunity to find the love and have the relationship that they really want. Number 5 is if your only reason for wanting to go back to the relationship is because you think you can change them, or because of outside influences and outside perspectives on you, the other person, and how you were as a couple. I kind of lump these two things together because I've had clients and prospective clients come to me before and tell me everyone says that we were so good together. Everyone says that they wanted a relationship like ours. Everyone thought I was crazy for leaving them. Did I make the right choice? Did I make the right decision? Did I do the wrong thing? And if the only reason you are second guessing leaving a relationship is because other people have an opinion, then you need to be able to let their opinions go. If you would have made the same decision and if other people would have had a different opinion on the situation, if you would feel differently from that, then you made the right decision. But if the only reason you're second guessing it is because people are saying you were so good together, or even if people are saying you were so good for them, then you made the right decision. Because just because you're good for them, it doesn't mean that they're good for you or the relationship was good for you or both of you. And so if you're letting outside influences have a place in your head, in your heart, and in your relationship, I invite you to let that go. I invite you to do what you can to let go of that. Because if the only reason you're second guessing it now is because of that, then you made the right decision and you have to honor the decision you made. So if you think you can change them, if you think staying in the relationship or going back to the relationship will change them, that is a thought fallacy. You cannot change somebody. You cannot change somebody, okay? And I know that's hard. And I know that we wish we could. And I know that if you're having some thoughts of like, but if they just did this different, or if they just showed up in this way, or if they just changed this, then it could work. That's your brain trying to bargain with a very hard thing. And you can't change them. And getting back with them won't change them. If someone wants to change, they have to change for themselves. And a couple week break, a couple month break, in my experience from what I've seen, is not actually enough for someone to change their thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Because they have to want to, they have to be aware of it, and they have to be present and decide for themselves that it's worth them taking the alternative steps and choices and actions for their own personal growth and for the sake of their relationships, not because you got back with them. So, with that being said, if you feel like you have fallen into one of these 5 categories, then I want to give yourself then I want you to give yourself permission to move forward and to know that you made the right choice. And also, I want to say that I heard this saying once, and again, I can't remember who said it originally. If I find out, I'll put it in the show notes, but I heard this saying once that the right decision is the decision you make right. And so if you make a decision, make it the right decision. And I don't mean like waffle on it and make sure that you're making the best decision for your entire life. No, I don't mean that. I mean, make it the right decision because you made it the decision. And do everything you can to back up that decision and to honor the fact that you made the best decision for yourself at that time with the knowledge and with the experience that you had. So make it the right decision, because the right decision is the decision you make right. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. Before we close out, I want to let you know about a free workshop that I'm hosting. It's called Situationship To Relationship. It is free. It's happening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on June 21st. So if you feel like you are in a cycle of situationships, aka dates that are going nowhere, on and off again relationships. You have this close relationship with a friend and you don't know what you are anymore. You don't know where it's going. You tried to bring up the conversation and it's kind of falling flat. If you feel like you're falling into those categories and you don't want to be anymore, you want to be in a committed, fulfilling, healthy, passionate relationship. You want to ditch the situationship or turn that situationship into a proper relationship, then get into this free workshop. There is going to be a replay. The replay will be sent out 24 hours later via email. So still sign up so that you can get that replay sent to your inbox. And if you have any questions about the workshop, you can go ahead and message me on whatever social media app you're following me on or through my website. There's a little contact me at the bottom of my page, and you can go ahead and send me an email there. Thanks again for listening. If this was of service and you know someone in your life who could hear what we have to say, go ahead and send this to them. If this resonated with you, I would love it if you could leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and 5 stars everywhere else. And I'll see you next time on the next episode of Shift Your Story. Bye, everybody.
So make whatever change you need to make.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If something resonated with you in today's episode, if you could leave a review, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps other people learn what we're all about here at Shift Your Story, and it helps this podcast reach listeners who may need to hear what it is that we have to say. If you would like to connect with me or work with me, you can visit my website at www.shiftyourstory.net. You can also find all of my socials on there so you can connect with me in the way that works best for you. I'll see you next time.